Chapter 13 Focus Group Discussions. Pathir Ravi Shankar Meda Joshi Savita Ravindra. Abstract. During a focus group discussion, a group of individuals selected and assembled by the researchers discuss and express their opinion on the research topic. FGD can generate rich data during a short time, and its strength lies in the interaction among the group members. Discussion takes place among a group who feel they are equals and share common interests. Online FGDs are becoming more common during the ongoing pandemic. FGD can be used for preliminary exploration of a topic, helping to develop a questionnaire, or can be used to explore in detail issues identified using other methods. Ethical challenges may need redressal, especially if faculty members conduct FGDs among students. Participants may communicate sensitive matters discussed outside the group. FGDs should be arranged in a neutral venue and the atmosphere should be relaxed. The concept of data saturation is used to decide on the number of FGDs to be conducted. A FGD guide is necessary. The moderator plays a vital role in the FGD and should ensure that the discussions are balanced. The other important member is the note taker. There is a definite sequence of activities to be followed while conducting an FGD. FGDs are usually audio or video recorded. Transcribing the FGD, coding, reporting of findings are subsequent steps, which are similar to other qualitative data analysis and reporting. Software is available to help the process. FGD, like other research methods, have both advantages and limitations. Keywords: education, focus groups, qualitative, research, research design. Assess need. Focus group discussions can be used as a preliminary exploration of topics in educational research, which can be further used to create a questionnaire or to explore in detail issues that need further clarification that were raised in a survey questionnaire. For example, a preliminary focus group can be used to explore the attitudes of medical students towards economic migrants and develop a questionnaire. Or if a study of the educational environment using a validated questionnaire found very low scores among a particular subgroup of students, then a focus group can be used to explore this further. What is a focus group discussion? A focus group discussion has been defined by Powell and co-workers as a group of individuals selected and assembled by researchers to discuss and comment on, from personal experience, the topic that is the subject of the research. FGD uses guided interactional discussion to generate rich details of complex experiences and the reasons behind actions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes. The focus could be a collective activity engaging the group, ranging from watching a movie, examining a health education message, or debating and discussing a particular set of questions. What are their advantages and disadvantages? FGDs have advantages over other qualitative data collection methods. The method can generate rich data in a relatively short time. FGDs can collect information and insights about a variety of phenomena. In an FGD, about 6 to 10 participants discuss a set of predetermined questions, and the discussion is facilitated by a trained moderator. The strength of FGD lies in the interaction between the group members, generating rich data and insights. The interactions should be mainly among the participants, and to enable this, the facilitator, moderator should create a comfortable, non-threatening atmosphere where participants feel encouraged to freely express their opinions. The discussion should take place among a group who feel equal and share common interests. FGD does not require many resources for data collection and can be recorded using a voice recorder or a video camera or smartphone. The moderator can dive more deeply to obtain in-depth insights into the research topic. Online FGDs can be conducted using a variety of platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, which also allow for recording the discussions. The analysis can be facilitated using software packages, which we will discuss later. The software is expensive, but recently cheaper alternatives may be available. A major point to consider is that since only a limited number of individuals are chosen, the group as chosen may not be representative of the population and the outcomes cannot be generalized. Brief. This chapter will discuss FGDs under the following points. What is an FGD? Where can we use FGDs in educational research? Ethical issues to be considered in FGDs. Arranging an FGD. Creating an FGD guide. Role of the FGD moderator. Focus group discussions 157. Conducting an FGD. Role of note taker. Recording an FGD. Analyzing and reporting findings of our FGD. Use of software. Strengths and limitations of FGD. CO and 3XTUARIZE. The first author started using FGDs in education research nearly 2 decades ago. One of the challenges he faced was the absence of skilled colleagues who could provide insights and guidance. His major source of knowledge was through books. In the early 2000s, videos explaining techniques were scarce. E-books were still not common, and the major method of communication was through email and snail mail. Smartphones were still in the future, and researchers had to invest on special devices to record the discussions. He prepared a FGD guide, read as much about the process as possible, and along with a colleague decided to conduct an FGD. His colleague acted as the note-taker and observer, and he was the main facilitator. They obtained written informed consent from the participating students. One of the challenges is that the student-teacher relationship is an unequal one, and students may find it difficult to say no to their teachers. The other challenge was to find a neutral venue. This was difficult as most places in the institution are used for teaching learning activities where the teacher is the dominant person. The cafeteria and the mess are noisy and unsuited for conducting and recording FGDs. We arranged some light refreshments and tea, coffee to encourage interactions and get people relaxed. One of the first author's major worries was whether the recording was going on smoothly and whether it could be played back loud and clear. Have you conducted FGDs? What was your experience facilitating your first FGD? What challenges did you face? What is a focus group discussion? Early in the chapter, we had looked at the definition of FGD. As mentioned before, in an FGD, the emphasis is on the interaction between the group members, and the technique of information gathering is based on apparently informal discussion among a group of people. The moderator leads the discussion while the observer takes notes and observes participants on verbal behavior, integrating it with the discussion. Focus group discussion has also been described as a group of interacting individuals having some common interests or characteristics, brought together by a moderator who uses the group and its interaction as a way to gain information about a specific or focused issue. Where can we use FGDs in educational research? FGDs can be used to explore a variety of areas in educational research. They have been used for a wide range of purposes in education, ranging from development of learning tools which appeal better to students, evaluation of students' knowledge and attitudes about curricular issues, enhancing results obtained through surveys, and developing new marketing strategies for educational programs. They have been used to explore topics as diverse as nutrition, AIDS, sex education, and technology. The possible impact of increasing female medical student admissions was studied in Nepal using FGDs. A variety of issues, including student perception about artificial intelligence in health professions, education, and in practice. student perception about disadvantaged populations, their opinions about different issues like various facilities in the institution, including support facilities for students and staff, among others, can be studied using FGDs. One of the challenges is students may be reluctant to share negative feedback, especially if faculty members are facilitating FGDs or if students think that the FGD recording may be shared with the faculty and the administration and their confidentiality and anonymity is not guaranteed. They can be used to study faculty perspectives, for example, on problem-based learning, curricular changes like the attitude, ethics, and communication skills module in India, their perception about online learning, among others. Ethical issues to be considered in FGDs. Several ethical challenges may arise while conducting an FGD. Predicting what will happen during an FGD may be problematic as the discussion and the group interactions may be unpredictable. Once the FGD starts, it may be difficult for the participant to revoke the consent. Participants may communicate what was discussed during the FGD with persons outside the group, creating confidentiality and anonymity issues. The potential of over-disclosure by some participants of sensitive topics may be a challenge. In educational research, the issue of the power imbalance between the teacher, faculty, and student may be an issue if the faculty is facilitating the FGD. Students may feel compelled to participate, and they may not be comfortable sharing sensitive information or negative opinion. Students in hierarchical organizations have been classified as a vulnerable population and could be unjustifiably influenced by the positive expectations associated with participating. In some countries, faculty members cannot be involved as FGD facilitators, and a person not directly associated with teaching learning facilitates the FGDs. Finding a neutral venue for the FGD may not always be easy, as mentioned before. Arranging an FGD. The group should not be too diverse that demographic differences and differences in professional status and class impact the deliberations. At the same time, the group should not be so homogeneous that the diversity of opinion is not revealed. Ensuring a proper group composition can often be difficult. Wherever possible, the FGD should be arranged in a neutral venue and a relaxed atmosphere created. The facilitator, moderator, and observer should be present at the venue before the participants so that they can welcome them to the session. Informal interaction before the actual FGD can help create a coherent group and ensure the members are comfortable with each other. Snacks and light refreshments can help. If the FGD is being held online, then the moderator and observer should be present at the virtual venue before the participants. Table 1 summarizes important steps and challenges while conducting an FGD. The participants should be seated in a circle in a face-to-face FGD to ensure appropriate eye contact and interactions. The venue should be comfortable and the recording equipment should be unobtrusive so that the participants are not inhibited. The ground rules should be discussed and agreed on before the start of the session. Consent should be obtained from the participants, and this should include consent for recording the session. If the FGD is being done face-to-face, 2 copies of the consent form should be available. 1 copy be kept with the investigator and the other with the participant. Participants should be fully informed about the confidentiality of the recordings, with whom they will be shared and what data will be published. The moderator should be friendly and unbiased. Recruiting participants may be time-consuming and can often be difficult. Size of the group. Ideally, the number of participants per FGD should not be too large or too small. Adequate participation of all the group members may not be possible. If the group is too large and too small, a group may not generate adequate discussion and diverse opinions. Generally, the group size is limited to 6 to 12 members. The number of FGDs to be held depends on the type and complexity of the research topic. FGDs should generate sufficient data to allow for comparisons and to generate and test theoretical ideas. Like in many other types of qualitative research, the concept of saturation is very useful. Reaching saturation means reaching a point where subsequent group discussions no longer provide new insights or outcomes. Saturation can determine the number of FGDs to be held. Generally, the duration of the FGD should be less than 2 hours for a face-to-face session. Creating an FGD guide to ensure that the discussions remain focused on the topic of interest while at the same time allowing the participants to talk freely, the moderator uses a discussion guide. This moderator's guide is prepared to cover the main topics or research questions in the session. The purpose of the discussion guide is to provide a framework for the moderator to ask questions to cover all research questions without missing out on any critical points. Use of the guide helps in collecting the data efficiently and covering the entire topic. The guide is not a survey instrument, and the questions need not be followed in the order written but should be covered sometime during the discussion. The number of questions in the guide is generally kept to a minimum to leave enough time for in-depth discussion. The sequence of questions in the guide usually moves from general to specific. In a particular discussion topic, the initial questions should be general, and as the discussion continues, the questions should be more specific and focused. Questions should be open-ended, simple, unbiased, and not leading. The guide should be flexible enough for the moderator to follow any relevant but unexpected points that come up during the discussion. All the members of the research group should be involved in preparing the questions. The suggested steps for developing the FGD guide are: specify the objectives and research topic for which responses are sought from the FGD. These should not be the direct research question. Ask, but the inference drawn from responses of the participants should help the researcher to answer the principal research question. The main items questions should be between 6 minutes 12. The main question should be broken down into smaller discussion points or themes. Be ready with probe questions if needed to get in-depth information. Pre-test the guide with a mock FGD. Review, revise, and delete questions based on the feedback received from pilot testing the questions in the mock FGD. Table 1 summarizes important steps and challenges while conducting an FGD. Role of the FGD moderator. The success of the FGD depends on the skills and experience of the moderator in conducting an FGD. As per Lewis, the moderator should be thinking, listening, and managing time at the same time. As he should be familiar with the discussion topic, should be polite, empathetic, and allow the participants to interact freely, keeping in mind the facets of group dynamics. As he should ensure participation from all the group members, handle the dominant participants tactfully, and encourage the non-responders. The moderator should be friendly and sensitive to cultural and gender issues. The moderator should ensure that the topic is introduced correctly and the discussions are balanced, and at the same time should not dominate the discussion or be judgmental or biased. Conducting an FGD. Generally, a team consisting of 2 to 3 members, a moderator, also called facilitator, or the discussion leader, a note taker, and an observer are involved in conducting the FGD. The FGD typically follows these steps. 1. The moderator starts the discussion with a welcome, followed by self-introduction and introduction of the note taker. This is followed by a round of self-introduction by the participants. 2. Next, the moderator explains the overall research question and the objectives of the FGD. This can be done orally by projecting them or putting it up as a poster on the wall. 3. The ground rules are explained, including the duration of the discussion, and permission is taken for note-taking and video recording. 4. The moderator reiterates that each participant should contribute and all the contributions are valued. Also reassures that the discussions will remain confidential and anonymous. 5. The moderator then starts the discussion by asking the questions listed in the guide, asking probing questions if required. The discussion can flow freely between the participants. Moderator ensuring that all the participants have a chance to express their views. 6. It is a good practice to summarize the major points discussed in one question before moving on to the next question. This will help clarify any doubts and to make sure that all viewpoints are recorded. 7. At the end of the discussion, the moderator should summarize the salient points to ensure correct interpretation as well as to allow the participants to elaborate their points further if any have been left out. 8. The moderator thanks the participants and concludes the interview. Role of the note taker. Next to the moderator, the other crucial member of the FGD team is the note taker. The quality of the notes determines the quality of the collected data. A note taker does not participate in the discussion. The note taker must take detailed notes on what is being discussed. This is not limited to just verbal conversation, but even the nonverbal communication and where the participant pauses or hesitates before responding. The notes add to the audio or video recording of the session. The notes are critical for focus group transcription to clarify and add contextual details to what the participants said during the focus group session. If the discussion is recorded on audio tape, a sketch of the sitting arrangement with assigned numbers will help later while transcribing the tapes to ensure the information is matched accurately. A few strategies to help improve the note-taking include: use a form, develop a standard form that can record each entry with name, date, and time. Maintain their inputs and leave space to add additional points when necessary. Prepare notes. It will help to use keywords or phrases to record instead of noting each word. This will help when doing the transcription. Document both questions and responses. You should record both questions and responses in your notes. Differentiate participant comments and your own observations. You should distinguish clearly between participant comments and your own observations. Use a column in your form to write down the quotes or the main ideas of what a speaker said, and in another column write down your observations. Either use your own initials or more indicating my observation. Cover a variety of observations apart from documenting what people say during a session. Record their body language, moods or attitudes, the general environment, and other information that would be relevant for the session. Once the initial note-taking and expanding the notes is completed, a debriefing session with the focus group moderator and note takers should be held to add any additional information. Discuss any issues or comments that require clarification, any questions that did not work well, and new topics that came up during discussion. Also, one should try to identify missing information. After completion of this task, the notes can be used for effective transcription along with the recorded discussion. It is, however, important to summarize main ideas and points of view that are presented during the conversation. It is also helpful to include any impression or observations made during the discussion. For instance, note takers can note who was most talkative, which questions made people uncomfortable, or which questions were the hardest to answer. Recording an FGD. FGDs are usually either audio or video recorded. In case of an audio recording, it would be helpful to get each speaker identify themselves either using a pseudonym or by serial number assigned to them, which helps during transcription. If using a video recording, the videographer should stand at a place that will not obstruct the flow of discussion. The process of transcribing a focus group discussion begins with the audio or video recording. Points to keep in mind while recording the FGD. 1. Speaker identification. In case of audio recording, it would be critical. While using video recording, the identification may not be difficult. However, it is useful. 2. Location for FGD. The choice of location is critical in case of recording. One must look for a quiet place where recording has clarity. Analyzing and reporting findings. Analyzing the FGD data is like analyzing any other qualitative data. So, the initial step is to prepare a verbatim transcription of the discussion. The transcript is then compared with the notes taken by the note taker to ensure completeness of the transcript. The next step after transcription is the process of analyzing and reporting the findings. Step 1. Coding of the information. After the FGD transcripts, one can begin coding and organizing the information in categories. These crucial tasks can be difficult and sometimes tedious. They are very important though because coding helps in identifying patterns, relationships, and meaning in the information. In addition, coding reduces the quantity of information that must be analyzed. Coding can be done manually using letters, words, numbers, and different colored pens. Usually, a team decides on the coding method. Nowadays, software packages like and ethnography are available that make qualitative data analysis, starting from coding the transcript easier. Table 1 summarizes important steps and challenges while conducting an FGD. Once the information is coded, one will be able to see themes evolving. For example, if a FGD is being conducted on barriers to family planning, after coding the responses, some of the responses can get categorized under stigma or beliefs or practices, etc. Finally, these themes will give a narrative that can be represented as diagrams, tables, or response rates depending on the research group decision. The data then can be further analyzed at the basic level where a descriptive account of the data is presented, giving just the explanation of what was said with no assumption being made. The second interpretative level of analysis is one which involves the understanding of the themes, creating links between the themes, revealing how those themes emerged, and generating a theory grounded in the data. Generally, several FGDs are conducted till there is data saturation. Hence, the data reporting is done in the context of all the FGDs and not individual group discussions. The reporting is usually done using undetailed terms and is full of statements such as many students expressed. Few of the faculty members disagreed. Direct quotes should be included to support these statements. As for using quantitative data analysis, simple statistical frequencies may be used to describe the themes or categories. As the FGDs are conducted with a small sample size, it is not possible to generalize the results, hence detailed statistical analysis is not appropriate for reporting FGD data. Use of software. There are several software available to transcribe and analyze the data. Example of some of the commonly used software. MEUINDIA, the art of data analysis, tool for both transcription as well as data analysis. COLLABITO, an online focus group chat. It has an app-based option as well. Asynchronous focus groups using a Facebook or learning management system platform is another option. Focus Group, it is a software that is easy to use and is used when the participants are at different geographic locations and can connect online for an FGD. Software use in qualitative data analysis has been elaborated in a separate chapter in this book. Strengths and limitations of FGD. A few of the strengths quoted in literature include: it is comparatively easy to conduct. It can be conducted as a standalone methodology or may be used along with another quantitative research method. It allows to explore topics and to generate hypotheses. The participants can build upon each other's opinions, thus providing a broader view. It has high face validity. It allows us to collect an appropriate amount of data in a short period of time. It gives speed in the supply of the results. It allows the researcher to increase the size of the sample of the qualitative studies by increasing the number of FGDs. Limitations include: 1. The researcher has less control over the data that are generated. 2. The data analysis is more tedious to perform. 3. The interaction of the group forms a social atmosphere and the comments should be interpreted within this context. 4. It requires a carefully trained moderator. 5. It takes effort to assemble the groups. 6. The discussion should be conducted in an atmosphere that facilitates dialogue. 7. The discussion may be influenced by a dominant participant and others may just echo his/her opinion. 8. Moderator, by expressing his/her own opinions or the dominant individual opinions, may result in biased outcomes. Summarize. FGD is a qualitative data collection technique that uses guided interactional discussion to generate the rich details of complex experiences and the reasoning behind their actions, behavior, perceptions, and attitudes. A focus group can be employed either as a single data gathering method to explore complex phenomena not suitable for quantitative research, or it can be conducted prior to, simultaneously with, or after a quantitative study such as survey questionnaire to get in-depth views from diverse groups. Recruitment of the participants is a crucial step to ensure that the group discussion will generate meaningful data. The number of participants per FGD is restricted to 6 minutes 12. Duration of each session between 45 minutes 90 minutes and not exceeding beyond 120 minutes. The number of FGDs to be conducted is generally decided once the data saturation occurs and no further new opinions are generated. The success of the FGD also depends on the skills of the moderator to facilitate the group using a moderator's guide and keeping in mind the principles of group dynamics. The recorded discussion along with the notes taken by the note taker are then transcribed, analyzed, and reported. Analysis and reporting are time-consuming and arduous part of the focus group study and very similar to other qualitative research methods. The major advantage of FGDs is that the researchers are able to get full range of perspectives held by the participants in a relatively short time. The interactions between the participants allows for clarification and expansion of the ideas. At the same time, it is likely that a participant's contributions may be influenced by the group effect. The purpose of FGDs is to elicit varied ideas and experiences and not to look for a consensus. Evaluate. India has a high prevalence of diabetes mellitus with the numbers increasing at an alarming rate. An initiative was undertaken to make the integrated diabetes care available at urban health centers in the city of Bangalore to enable a comprehensive care pathway for individuals. This would reduce the burden on tertiary care hospitals and enable them to provide more complex care. A multidisciplinary team was sent to 2 urban healthcare centers in the city as a pilot study to plan, initiate, and deliver this service. Individuals of the locality and ward were screened for diabetes and after taking consent for treatment. The services were offered 3 days a week at the centers. To develop a clinical care pathway, it was decided to obtain all stakeholders' opinions at the planning stage. Questions. Please identify the stakeholder groups. How many stakeholder groups could you identify? 1. What is the ideal method that could be used to gather stakeholder opinions? 2. What are the ethical issues involved? 3. If you think FGD could be a method, who are the participants to be considered? 4. Identify the number of participants to be included for each group. 5. If you are the moderator planning the activity, list the questions that you would like to get opinions at the start of the program. Figure 1. Would you like to conduct your first FGD? Then this might help you. Before the FGD, identify the research question that needs further inputs. Identify the participant group and contact them. Decide on the venue, prepare the moderator's guide. Identify the moderator and note taker. During the FGD, where the venue to receive the participants. Take written consent for audio, video recording, and for maintaining confidentiality. Conduct the FGD guiding the discussion as per the moderator's guide. Sum up the salient conclusions drawn. Thank the participants after the FGD. Transcribe the recorded discussion and tally with the notes. Analyze the data using standard qualitative data analysis methods. Repeat the FGDs with other groups till data saturation occurs. Table 1. Steps in carrying out an FGD and associated challenges. Step: arranging the FGD. Challenge: ensuring a proper group composition. Possible solution: consider differences of rank, social classes, economic group, and caste while choosing participants. Have enough diversity to ensure diversity of opinions. Create a welcoming and relaxed atmosphere. Be present at the venue before the participants. Select a neutral venue and ensure supply of light refreshments and snacks in physical FGDs. Icebreaker in virtual FGDs. Select a proper group size. The recommended size is 6 to 12 for physical FGDs and around 5 for virtual FGDs. Be mindful of time. The duration is less than 2 hours and 90 minutes. Develop and test the FGD guide. The FGD should answer the principal research question per test the FGD guide with mock participants. Moderating the FGD. Ensure all individuals participate. Be polite, empathetic, encourage non-responders, handle dominant participants, and be aware of sociocultural issues. Summarize the discussions. The discussion of one question is summarized before moving on to the next. At the end, the main discussion is summarized. This keeps participants on track and they can elaborate where required. Take detailed notes during the FGDs. Adds to the recording. Important during transcription to clarify and add contextual details. Separate note taker required. Analyzing and reporting the findings. Prepare the transcript. Professional help to transcribe the recordings can be used. Free and paid online transcription software is also available. Qualitative data analysis can be done manually. A variety of platforms are available, both paid and free. Road ahead. FGDs are a powerful tool to explore a variety of topics in health professions, education, and require expertise to conduct and analyze. Analyzing and interpreting FGDs is time-consuming. We will attempt to explore recent changes in how FGDs are conducted, transcribed, and analyzed. What changes have taken place in how FGDs are conducted? FGDs are increasingly being conducted online both due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and due to the ease of involving participants from different regions. A blended approach to FGDs, face-to-face sessions for participants located in the same place as the facilitators and online for remote participants is expected to continue even post-pandemic. Specialized software for conducting online FGDs are available, and web conferencing tools can also be used. Certain modifications to how FGD is conducted are recommended for online FGDs. The number of participants to be involved is only 4 to 5. Confidentiality agreement can be signed online. Incentives can be provided through online transfer or through gift vouchers. The session time should be between 60 to 90 minutes. Some participants may want to use an avatar, and features like video blurring and audio masking may be useful to protect participant identity if required. The discussion topics are usually reduced to 4 to 5. If the FGD participants speak multiple languages, then simultaneous translation services may be required. Both the moderator and the participants should be familiar with the online platform. It is recommended to log in about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the session. Some of the professional platforms also allow for transcribing. Free transcribing tools for FGDs. Transcribing an FGD is a labor-intensive process. Different transcribing services are available online and most charge a fee. A recent article examines 3 free transcription software, 3 free transcription tools you can try 2020. Among those recommended are OTranscribe, ExpressScribe, and the FTW Transcriber. Free qualitative data analysis software. This software can carry out transcription analysis, coding, text interpretation, content analysis, discursive analysis, among others. The software enables content search, data visualization and reporting, storing and coding, data linking, and data mapping. Among the software mentioned are Coding Analysis Toolkit, General Architecture for Text Engineering, FreeDA, QDA Minor Light tabs, among others. FGDs and chatbots. Chatbots are software applications using artificial intelligence and natural language processing to understand what a human wants and guide them to their desired outcome. Chatbots can be used to filter, select, and group individuals in a conversation by using condition and options in the chatbot scripts. These individuals can then be directed toward FGDs. A chatbot has been developed to facilitate group discussions by managing the discussion time, encouraging even participation of the members, and organizing members' opinions. What are the different types of FGDs? FGDs have been divided into single FGD, mini FGD, two-way FGD, dual moderator FGD, dueling moderator FGD, respondent moderator FGD, and a remote FGD.